rebranded, same channel, but newly rebranded Cinnabar Island Steelix. That's right, we are back for APDL Season 7. Holy crap. I can't believe it's been 7 seasons already of APDL action. But here we are, about to get started with VGC Doubles 2019's format. And we've got a whole new ballgame. Whole new team, whole new roster, whole new logo. Back to a format that I wasn't very good at first time around, but maybe we learned something over the course of the last few seasons, kind of preparing ourselves mentally to handle the tax of doubles and what will, you know, have to be our normal routine of thinking differently. I appreciate all of you who have stayed with us through the many iterations of mascots and logos and, you know, all under the Jkkayy Pokemon APDL umbrella. But with that being said, we need to talk about our draft, right? So without jumping super deep into it, I want to just kind of preface the kind of draft recap of we got 10 picks. There was 2 from Tier 1, 3 from Tier 2, and then 5 from Tier 3. So very similar to what we did last season for Season 6. The difference is we're using big boy Pokemon finally. It's been a while since we've actually used fully evolved mons. So actually having stuff that has stats and moves and some different usability is great. I loved the Little Cup format. Don't get me wrong, we did really well in Little Cup. But now it is time for something new. So take a sip of my water here and then we'll dive in. So we had the second to last pick, which means we had kind of like a pseudo wheel and we had a long time to think about stuff in between picks. So rather than go through and kind of say, you know, what was my first pick, what was my second pick, third, fourth, whatever, I'm just going to go in tiered order. We're going to do the tier 1s first. We're going to do the last ones last, tier 3s last. And we're just going to talk about everything, okay? So starting with what's probably going to be like our mainstay, the captain of the Cinnabar Island Steelix, is Zapdos. Our first tier 1, I think Zapdos is awesome. In the doubles format, it might not be as good as the singles format. However, Zapdos is something that I looked at and was like, man, this thing has super good stats all across the board. I mean, we're talking 90 HP, 90 attack, 85 defense, 125 special attack, 90 special defense, and 100 speed, and it's one of the best tailwind setters in the VGC format. It is bulky, it can hit hard. I've got access to Roost and a lot of other kind of just mainstay utility. Obviously Tailwind being number 1, but also just like, why just fire off Thunder Waves here and there and there. So Zapdos is going to be a defensive threat every week, and something that we're going to get, I think, a lot of good utility out of as well. And, you know, I might even be able to, every once in a while, sneak in an offensive set and really go just like, hey, surprise! You thought we were going to rely on, you know, this natural bulk and some really good defenses to just kind of shore up our you know, our mons on the defense side. However, I'm going to sneak attack at you and fire off Thunder Waves, Thunderbolts, Discharges, Thunders in the Rain maybe, and Hurricanes. Actually, I don't even know if Zapdos gets Hurricane. Before I just totally shoot my mouth off here and tell you something not true. let me I will look at the moveset. We do not get Hurricane. Sorry. But let's see what our special moves are, right? So we've got Discharge, Extrasensory, Heat Wave is what I was thinking of. Signal Beam, which is kind of Mime, Thunder, Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, which is great. We do get Air Cutter, Hidden Powers all over the place, Twister, Zap Cannon, just kind of, you know, stuff I'm never going to use. However, Zapdos is really cool, and I'm really looking forward to using it. I think it's going to be, you know, something that we can rely on week in and week out, and that is going to be, like I said, kind of like our team captain. So that is it for Zapdos. Let's move into our next tier 1, Aegislash. So whereas Zapdos, you know, can be an offensive threat if I need it, I wanted something that was just like, you know what you see is what you get. Offense is here to stay, but by the way, I can kind of maybe be a little defense with it. So kind of the exact opposite of Zapdos is Aegislash. Aegislash is a monster, you guys. My attack stats are 150 after we go into our attack stance. Base 150 defenses, which is nothing to scoff at. You know, 60 HP. Excuse me, 140 for those base stats. Showdown has them at 150. Interesting. Anyways, base 140 for attack or defense, depending on what stance I'm in. And Aegislash is definitely something that is going to come in and just hit hard. In this format, we could be offensive on the physical side, on the special side, stuff like Flash Cannon, you know, Gyro Ball if I just sacked my speed, gets Head Smash. Iron Head obviously is one of his better moves. Night Slash is great for coverage. It does have access to the all-important Rock Slide for some spread damage potential. Sacred Sword is really, really good, especially because it ignores stat changes. So if something tries to set up on me and you know, it gets a big defense boost, like we're going up against like a Cursed Snorlax or something, even if it's way up there with its defenses, Sacred Sword doesn't care. We're gonna hit you for, you know, our base damage, no problem. And you know, that's pretty cool. It's not stab, but it's base 90 power, so that's cool. Shadow Ball and Shadow Claw, both really good. Shadow Sneak for some priority. And it gets, you know, Wide Guard on the defensive side, so it's, you know, it has some utility there, but not a ton, you know. I'm not going to be probably using Aegislash as a defensive wall anytime soon, even though its defenses are actually really, really high before the stance change. So we'll see. It definitely is kind of a little bit more straightforward, but has some insane attack stats, and, you know, under Trick Room or something like that, or after a Tailwind, Aegislash could be extremely scary. So that is Aegislash, and now that's our two tier ones. So now we'll move into our tier 3s, and this next pick, honest to God, is probably my favorite pick of the entire draft. It was in my first kind of wheel. I grabbed Zapdos right away, and then I wanted something that could take advantage of what Zapdos does, and we got a Azumarill. And for those of you who don't know, Azumarill gets this really cool ability called Huge Power, which doubles its base stat for attack. So instead of base 50, we have base 100 on our attack. And we just have like this really amazing chance to pop off with a Belly Drum and an Aqua Jet. That's kind of like the really cool combo that we have access to. That huge power, our attack stats doubled, so we're base 100 attack. We can Belly Drum to max that attack out, and then click Aqua Jet, have priority, and just start ramming into things. Azumarill also on the physical side of the house, because we're probably not going to be a special Azumarill ever. So, you know, we're looking at like Aqua Jet, Aqua Tail, Body Slam, Brick Break. I do get Bulldoze for some speed control if I ever wanted to do something crazy like that. Ice Punch is probably going to be a good kind of staple move, excuse me. I get Iron Tail, which is pretty cool. It's a base 100 attack move. All important knockoff. Play Rough also is Stab Fairy. And this thing's immune to dragon types, which is really cool. So also Superpower and Waterfall are also in there as kind of staple attack moves. The other thing that's kind of cool with Azumarill is it gets Encore, and like things like Fake Tears, screens. Actually, it gets Light Screen. Not Reflect though, I don't think. No, but I get Light Screen, so that's kind of neat. I can fling stuff. There's Helping Hand, which is really good in this format. So like Azumarill, as good as it is on the offensive side of the house, it does have a little bit of that utility baked in if I ever wanted to switch things up. And I'm just really excited to try like a Belly Drum Aqua Jet huge power Azumarill. Like it's so like easy to prep for, but you know, paired with a Zapdos that can set the rain. I don't know if you heard that, but it can set the rain. We might be able to do some really funny stuff with Azumarill and support it in a really cool way. I think it's a steal as a tier 2. Definitely something that I'm really happy that we got. Its other stats aren't super great, but it's base 80 defenses, which isn't bad at all. And the 50 speed, you know, we have we have ways to kind of get around that. It's slower than Aegislash even, so and that's at base 60, but we have priority on both of these two really offensive powerhouses. And I do have a Trick Room Setter and ways to Tailwind and kind of help out our slower, more kind of chunky boys. So something that is not slow and that is also, I think, a super big steal for us in a tier 3 slot, and something that I wanted. It's fully evolved form, Incineroar, but it got picked right away in the first round. So we landed on Torracat actually as a tier 2, which, looking at Torracat and kind of what it does compared to Incineroar, they're very similar. Stats on the defensive side are not as great as Incineroar. And obviously there's a little bit of an attack drop off there too. However, Incineroar and Torracat function extremely similarly in the fact that it's got Intimidate and Parting Shot. And that's really like, that is what Torracat's job is. Like, this is straight defensive utility. We're going to be intimidating things. We're going to be Parting Shot. It's got Fake Out, which is super good in the doubles format. Spread damage with like Heat Wave if we ever wanted to go special. It can roar stuff. I can sub, taunt, U-turn, Will-O-Wisp, a whole bunch of really good utility moves. So I think that Torracat is going to be a staple of our defensive core, and I'm really excited to use it as like a really fast pivot. Actually, it's base 90 speed. So where Incineroar drops off on the speed and we'd be all of a sudden looking at a very slow team overall, Torracat actually has some good speed in the beginning to where, you know, we don't have to invest it if we don't want to. That might be something that we play around with though, just having a fast Parting Shot to be able to lower those attack stats and stuff and be able to really hamper something. Why is Parting Shot illegal? Wait a second. I might be on the wrong thing as far as my team builder is concerned. But that just said parting shot was illegal. Hold on. Torracat. Interesting. I'm gonna have to get a clarification there, because that was the whole reason why we drafted Torracat, and Showdown says it's illegal. So we shall see. But anyways, Torracat's really cool. I think it's a really good potential move in our defensive slot. As you know, Torracat's got that Intimidate plus some really good stats for speed, and hopefully we'll be able to use Parting Shot, but we'll see. Next up is kind of back to offense after we've kind of, you know, did the Torracat thing to get some defense on our team. Dragonite is our next tier 2 pick, or kind of our last tier 2 pick, I believe, right? Yes. So Dragonite is a really, really cool option for a mixed kind of attacker. I really wanted Salamence, and it got picked like half a round before I was able to make this Dragonite pick. So Dragonite, unfortunately, is kind of like a Salamence, but not as good, because Salamence has Intimidate, and Intimidate in doubles is super good, but Dragonite does get things like Marvel Scale, Inner Focus, Multi-Scale, excuse me. Multi-Scale, so, you know, when we're at full health, those attacks get halved. Inner Focus, so it can't flinch, is really, really good depending on the matchup. And, you know, it does have respectable mixed attacking potential like Salamence does, right? So Salamence is not as bulky, I don't believe. I'm just going to pull up the stat difference between the two, right? So we've got, you know, Salamence has 95 HP, Dragonite has 91, so it's basically a wash there. It's 134 to 135 for attack, so basically the same. Dragonite has 95 in defense, Salamence has 80 in defense, so a little bit of a difference there. Dragonite's special attack is 100, Salamence is 110. The special defense for Dragonite is 100, and it's only 80 for Salamence. Salamence is faster with 100 speed, and Dragonite's only at 80. So there's a little bit of differences, but Dragonite is a little bit bulkier, a little bit better on the defensive side. Salamence does have the potential for Intimidate and Moxie, which are way better abilities, and its move pool is, you know, probably better, but it's debatable, right? So like Dragonite has some really good options on the physical side. Obviously that attack stat is huge, but it can also fire off stuff like Draco Meteor and Hydro Pump, and you know, I think it gets Hydro Pump. It does not get Hydro Pump. Sorry. It gets Surf, that's what it was. So I get Blizzard, Draco Meteor, Dragon Pulse, Fire Blast, you know, Heat Wave for spread damage, Hurricane is really good, Ice Beam, Icy Wind, Surf, Thunder, Thunderbolt. So, you know, really respectable move pool as far as the special side of things go. And on the physical side, obviously, like, Dragonite's just, I pretty, like, you know, has some really, really good options on the physical side. So it's got Double Edge, Dragon Claw, you know, Earthquake, Extreme Speed for priority, Outrage, Iron Head, a couple of different punching moves. So I can really be very comfortable running this either physical or special. We've got the Dragon Dance potential for setup. I would love to run like some kind of weakness policy with Dragonite or something like that. Maybe like a weakness policy multi-scale to be able to take a hit and then dish out really big damage on the back end. So I think Dragonite is just another really, really good high base stat total Pokemon that we needed in the offensive department. You know, there's a couple of things that have potential on paper, but Dragonite is just like raw offensive power that we can rely on from week to week. Kind of switching back and moving into our tier 3s now. Our first one's Togetic, arguably one of the better Eviolite Pokemon in this format, and it also gets the all-important Follow Me. Misdirection is so important in doubles, and this is our Follow Me mon. So the idea is that you max out the defenses on this thing, slap an Eviolite on it, and click Follow Me, take the damage, roost it off the next turn, and allow something beside you to set up and just go buck wild. So Togetic is extremely straightforward in what it does, but it's a really good support mon. I do have things like Hustle, Serene Grace, and Super Luck for my abilities. Most of the time we'll do Serene Grace or Super Luck. Super Luck is crit chance though, so probably not actually. Serene Grace though, the Pokemon's moves have their secondary effect chance doubled. So you know, there's a number of different things that we can do. You know, if we wanted to be really cheeky, we could do Ancient Power, you know, Shenanigans, or you know, it gets Encore, which is super good for utility. Obviously, like I said, the Follow Me. Heal Bell is really important if I get burned or something like that. We do have Helping Hand. Oh, what else is there for this guy? I mean, Roost, Safeguard, you know, a couple of things that are pretty good. Soft Boiled, Substitute, another Tailwind user, actually. Thunderwave, Toxic, Trick, Wish, Yawn. You know, really, really good potential for utility out of this Togetic. So I'm really excited about it. This was definitely something that I wanted the ability to have on our team for the misdirect, obviously. But that base 105 special defense is nothing to scoff at either. So it is kind of slow, base 40 speed. But, you know, like I said, its job is to click Follow Me and take hits. So it doesn't have to be super fast. And, you know, in a weird world, maybe works in Trick Room. I don't know. But that's Togetic, pretty straightforward, not as exciting as our next pick, being Dhelmise. I think Dhelmise is super cool. Like, a Pokemon that I have never ever used before, but has some really, really neat, just kind of functions on a doubles team. It is, I think, our only way of getting rid of hazards, because it does get Rapid Spin, I believe. Yep. It's also another Rain Dance setter for Azumarill if we were ever to do some shenanigans in the rain, or just even to take away like sun or sand or any other weather that we might not want to be wreaking havoc for us. But it does get some cool moves. I think the two biggest ones that I think are super cool is Ally Switch and Anchor Shot. So Ally Switch in the doubles world is actually kind of useful in some scenarios. The user swaps positions with the ally. So this really only would ever work in something like a Trick Room scenario where I could actually go first. And then, you know, Dhelmise could switch itself with my ally and then potentially take a hit that I didn't want the other Pokemon to take. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to pull that off, but just the fact that I get it is kind of cool. Anchor Shot, on the other hand, is a base 80 Steel-type move that prevents the target from switching out, and with Steel Worker, my Steel-type moves get a 1.5 multiplier. So it's huge, like huge damage. It's basically a base 120 Steel-type attack that locks you in from switching. I think that's really cool and could have some really good use cases in the doubles format. I also get stuff like Helping Hand, which is really cool. You know, anything in the doubles format that lets me, you know, do something like Helping Hand, Follow Me, Fake Out, any of those kind of really good utility moves is cool. And just the fact that Dhelmise learns Helping Hand is really nice. We get stuff like Iron Defense and Knock Off, Pain Split, stuff like that. You know, Protect, it's got Rapid Spin. Like I said, hazards won't be as big of a deal in this format, but if there ever was a time where I needed to Rapid Spin stuff away, this is our answer to hazards. It does, again, get that spread damage with Rock Slide, which is really cool. Shadow Claw, Shadow Ball. You know, just really good, solid attacking moves. I do get Synthesis for some recovery, which is cool. And Power Whip is a really strong move. So while on paper, like, you might think that Dhelmise is like, man, base 131 attack and 100 defense. This is like a physical monster. It also has some other good utility with it, and I think it's a lot more multifaceted than some people might think. So I'm really excited for it. The next mon on the team is Blaziken, which I cannot believe is a tier 3. Like, are you kidding me? This thing gets speed boost. I think that Blaziken could potentially pop off like nobody's business. The fact that it gets speed boost is insane. It's insane. Being able to just protect even for a turn to get that boost and then just start wailing on people with fire and fighting type moves, which are really good offensive typings, I think could be really, really awesome and the difference maker in some games. It's not very good against our week 1 opponent, but that's fine. You never know what old Uncle Josh might throw out. But Blaziken's really, really great. Get stuff like Brave Bird, Brick Break, Bulk Up. You know, we can double edge an Earthquake, stuff like that. Flare Blitz, Flamethrower. I really like the fact that Blaziken can be a physical or special attacker. It is kind of like the theme that I went with for a lot of my Pokemon that are kind of offensive minded, is that a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them can be a split attacker. So like Blaziken, I could click Overheat and then the next turn hit you with a high jump kick or something like that and have really good attack stats in both that could, you know, after that big attack drop from the Overheat, just switch to physical and keep wailing on people. So I think Blaziken's super great. I love the fact that we stole it as a tier 3. It fits kind of just as a, not a fast, but a faster on my roster with that base 80 speed, but being able to have that speed boost, it really helps because I needed speed. And this is definitely a way to add that to our team. Kind of circling out the tier 3s here, Mr. Mime is the next one on the list. And Mime is here for a couple of different things. Number one, it's my only Trick Room setter. Like I said, I've got some slow boys on the team. You know, Aegislash is base 60 speed, Azumarill's 50, Togetic's 40, Dhelmise is 40. The rest are kind of in that 180, 90 range. Mr. Mime being at 90. I wanted the ability to set Trick Room if I needed it, or get rid of Trick Room if we were in a battle where I can, you know, use that move to get rid of it. So screens in Trick Room is Mime's primary job. I think, I wonder if Mr. Mime gets Fake Out. I don't know for sure. It does get Fake Out. So this is another Fake Out user for me alongside the next pick. But I think like Mr. Mime is full defensive utility with like a sneaky good base 100 special attack stat. We're not going to win any awards for high HP or anything like that. But with the fact that I can set Trick Room, put up screens, fake stuff out, and then, you know, maybe in a matchup where I'm facing, you know, Dragon types or Psychic type Pokemon that don't want to get hit with Shadow Ball or something. Actually, I should make sure that I actually get Shadow Ball. I think I do. I do get Shadow Ball. Okay, good. Psychic type moves, Fairy type moves, primarily are what we're going to look for if this thing ever fires off attacks. But main job is Trick Room and Screens, and that's okay. I think that's super valid and super okay. I don't need it to do much more than that, to be honest with you. So I love the Mr. Mime pick. I think it's memey as hell, but actually fills a pretty good role in my team. And like I said, that base 120 special defense is huge. So really excited about that. And finally, the last Pokemon on the roster, since we've been talking for a half an hour, is Kangaskhan. This thing hits like a truck, and it gets Fake Out. And it's base 90 speed, so it's actually kind of fast. There's not much more to say about Kangaskhan. It also only has the fighting weakness, which is really good. And I've got a lot of resistances for fighting type. So we are good in that. Yeah, I have 7 fighting type resists. And Kangaskhan's the only Pokemon weak to fighting on my team. So that's kind of funny. But Kangaskhan really, like I said, it's gonna fake stuff out and hit stuff hard. I have Drain Punch, Earthquake, Facade, Fake Out. We can do, stuff with Scrappy and Inner Focus so that I can't actually be flinched. So there's a lot of really good abilities here with Kangaskhan. And it's just got like I said, it hits like a truck and it gets Fake Out. That's all there is to it. So that's the squad. A good kind of overview of what we drafted. I don't think this is the perfect draft by any stretch of the imagination. I think in the power rankings, we're sitting somewhere in the middle, which is fine. Last season, we started way low on the power rankings. We proved people wrong. So we're in 8th right now. And I think that's probably like not a bad spot for us to be in. As far as like potential for the team and like what we can do. I am expecting to struggle a little bit with the doubles format. I think it'll all be like the entire division based on how we split things up this season. It's going to be nuts. Every game this year is going to be, or this season is going to be super, super tight and really difficult to prep for, which I'm excited about. I mean, it's going to be super competitive. And we will look to maybe make changes as the season goes on with the roster and adapt and overcome until we get to the playoffs and we have a roster that we're really confident in moving into playoffs and trying to find that elusive second championship. So DJ's back and Garrett has taken this season off, so there is a chance that we have a repeat champion in either DJ or me, or we could have somebody brand new, which would be really exciting as well. So I'm excited for doubles. It's going to be different. It's going to be weird, but it's going to be fun. And I think we're ready for the challenge. And I guess, in the comments below, let me know what your favorite draft pick was and what you're hoping to see out of the Cinnabar Island Steelix this year. So thanks so much for your support, and go Steelix.